Today is March 3rd, 2026. It is 2:09 p.m. This is the third video. So I'm just continuing with my list I quickly put together, keeping each of the videos at least 30 minutes. Okay, first tweet. MAGA doesn't understand why Americans are dying in Israel's war with Iran and why Trump broke his promise not to go to war. All right, 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Let's see.
3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action.
No!
As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice
MAGA,
for
no!
our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives.
Ting, 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 ting. Put me through to the President of the United States now. It's an emergency. President Trump, it's MAGA here. Sir, Americans are dying. This has to stop. You promised there'll be no war. You said you would not go into war. You Sir?
He doesn't care.
Yes, you said so.
He doesn't care.
When did you say so? You said so here.
I will tell you, you're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. That I can tell you.
You promised,
The
sir.
United States military began major combat operations.
You changed your mind?
But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission.
What noble mission, sir? MAGA is very worried. What noble mission? Sorry, sir? Israel? Did God promise Jews Iran 3,000 years ago? I mean, they're getting a lot, aren't they? Sorry, sir, I was thinking out loud. But, sir, I'm confused. What's this got to do with America? Oh, it's for our children? To make their lives better? Whose children, sir? Yours or mine?
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
They're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press to go look at these allegations.
Yep, we're not letting go. I just made a switch here. I had another video tweet of Dr. Shola, but this one, since we're talking about soldiers, listen to this. Let's pause. Over 365 and counting Israel soldiers that have served during the last war says that they won't report for duty in this new war with Iran because they believe it's illegal. They already don't agree with the last one either. And look what happened. And you know what I realized with them? You're gonna see, if you are on social media, I'm pretty much mostly on Twitter, where they're top generals, okay? This is the lie you're gonna start hearing or reading. That the top generals is something bad happened to them, okay? Why? They want to confuse Iran that the top generals are either whatever, but they pretty much exactly where they're supposed to be, okay? They're gonna start making rumors about their top generals or whoever's in the military higher up, either something bad happened to them, as if they have been eliminated. They did that before to sort of confuse their opposition, but that's the way that they usually do to confuse the enemy, their enemy, as you know, so they don't track their top generals, because normally during a war you just have to eliminate the top generals to pretty much the soldiers don't have any leaders, okay? So you're gonna start hearing them making false rumors on social media about their top generals, okay? That's what Israel usually does. They did that last time when they started when they attacked Iran the first time. Now this is the second time, so we're gonna see how they're gonna proceed. So let's listen to this. Oops.
So, have y'all heard of what some of the Israeli soldiers are saying?
We're over 365 and counting soldiers who served during the war and have declared that we will not report for duty when called again. We refuse to take part in Netanyahu's illegal war, and we see it as a patriotic duty to refuse and to demand accountability from our leaders. Netanyahu's ongoing...
But they're sending American soldiers to fight your war for you. You know what happened? I said it in one of the videos. The Israel citizens are going in bunkers to hide from bombs. And then there was a Chinese or Asian, it may not be Chinese, but Asian guy who wants to go in the bunker too for safety. They won't let him in. They will not let him in. I hope the rest of the world see them for who they are. It's ridiculous.
War of aggression needlessly puts our own hostages in danger and has wreaked havoc on the fabric of Israeli society, while at the same time killing, maiming, and starving an entire population of Gazan civilians. And
you should see so many videos that I come across where, let's say, World Central Kitchen is trying to get into Gaza to feed the people. They will stop the trucks. It may not be World Central Kitchen, but, well, they did kill some workers of World Central Kitchen. But other organization who's trying to bring food to Gaza, they'll stop the truck and take those grain, whatever the food that they were bringing, and just toss it on the floor. Wasted it. These people are evil. They don't want to kill themselves because they want to stay alive, but they want other people to fight their war for them.
Any act of legitimizing continuing hostilities over a hostage deal is inherently a betrayal of the hostages and a betrayal to the Israeli people.
They're refusing to report back to duty if called. They're also calling this an illegal war. An illegal war. Plus, they're saying it's their duty to refuse to go to war and demand accountability. Congratulations to these Israeli soldiers. They have just shifted to the right side of history.
I don't believe them. I don't believe them. Some of them said that in the last, what they did to, what do you call this? To the Palestine. You see what they did. They burned it to the ground. Next week. This is Dr. Shola. I had to show you that other one too. Oh my God, 3 minutes. If the leopards ate my face was a person, Nana Akua is it. This reform guy is such a fake-ass coward, stumbling over his words when all he wants to say is, she's not white, there's the laugh here. When she invoked Black Uncle Cheddar, I laugh out loud. Okay, so let's listen.
Do you think I'm English?
Look, let's put that to one side for the minute. We're going to go down a rabbit hole if we start talking about this sort of thing, and we don't have time to give it the detail that it deserves.
Howard! Gotta stop you there. I know exactly how much time we've got. There's no breaks in this hour. We've got time.
Okay, listen, if you want to go down this
Answer the
route,
question.
I'm happy to do so, because it is
a question.
But it is an important issue about what it means to be British.
What does it mean to be British then? Okay.
Well, I mean, we have made it very clear, Restore Britain have made it very clear that our position is that Britishness is not just defined by having a British passport. It is not just defined by believing in a set of abstract corporate-style values like democracy and the rule of law.
Is it defined?
Well, let me finish. So the position,
defined by not what it is.
The position of every mainstream party, from Reform UK right the way through to the Greens, is that Britishness is defined by having a passport or believing in democracy. Right? In our view, that is an absolutely ridiculous definition, because Britain and the constituent nations that make this country up, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, are ancient peoples. These are ancient nations that have existed continuously for over 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So there is a difference.
So there is a difference. So am I British?
There is a difference between somebody.
Why?
I'm born in Newcastle. I'm a Geordie. Am I British?
Well, look, you're born in Britain, and all the rest of it. So in that sense, yes, you are British.
So
there is
a bit of me isn't then.
Well, there is obviously a spectrum, because there is a difference between somebody who has come here in the last 5 years and got themselves a passport, and somebody like me, whose family has been in this country literally for thousands of years. Okay. There is a difference. This is an important
Have you
difference.
heard of Cheddar Man? Cheddar Man turns out that he may well have been black and was here.
No, I think that's...
No. So it hasn't been fully. And apparently he was the first person in this country, and he was potentially black. In fact...
I love this banana. The leopard would eat my face. The leopard is chomping your face with some potato salad. My word. She thought all that cooning, caping, tap dancing, and racial gatekeeping will make her one of them. I'm telling you, I swear. She probably thought he was going to go, well, of course you are one of us. Nah, you are not. The white supremacist has told you. In not so plain language, because you don't have Asian blood, aka you're not white, that you are not British, And Nana is so desperate to belong, she invokes Uncle Cheddar. Because you can't get any more black than him. And now she wants to claim our blackness because it is convenient. My friend, Chale, go and find your square roots. These white supremacists are intellectually dishonest and dumb. Because if you've been somewhere for 1,000 years makes you indigenous, how then do you white people get to go claim to be indigenous to Australia and to America? I mean, this colonial settler mentality is violent, but it's also funny because they look so stupid.
I might argue the point with you. I'm indigenous. I was born here. I'm native to the land. So, you know, there's I'm Australian as well, and I'm indigenous as well.
Indigenous?
Yes, I am. Do you know the word indigenous?
Yeah, I do.
Native to the land. I was born here. Where's my land if it's not Australia?
England?
England. I was just repeating. Indigenous, she was pretty much there. Her whole family was, her whole entire generation originate from that land. Okay, let's go to the next tweet. Is there anything else? Okay, the people are just laughing. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, breaking. Spain MEP Irene Montero, quote, because no one stopped the genocide in Gaza, the United States and Israel are now targeting Venezuela and Iran. For the Venezuela part, I think it was a manufactured one, okay? If they wanted to kill Montero, they would have killed him. It was a tactic to scare other countries, like Haiti, those smaller countries. If you don't listen to us, this is what we could do to you. But for what happened to Iran, they want to destroy it because they want the land. All right, we must isolate the U.S. and Israel now so they can no longer spread terror across the globe. All right, completely unrelated. This woman's far left party was financed by both Iran and Venezuela. Okay, I don't know anything about that. Okay, so that's in Spanish. Okay, that's in Spanish. Okay, good luck next time you call for help from the strongest military on earth. So just because she's standing up for her country, not to send her people to a war that was not authorized, okay, and all of a sudden you're saying good luck next time, because these people, they tend to manufacture things to put you in need of their help. So she's standing up for her people, to not send her people, you know, the young generation military to risk their lives for Israel. Some of the Israelis don't even want to fight that war. Why would Spain risk their citizen to fight a war for the people who don't even want to fight the war, but they initiated it? These people are ridiculous. They don't want you to believe your eyes. The tactic. This is what happened. They manufactured everything. Look how they somewhat disable the government of the United States so they could get what they want. And they expect everybody else to follow. If, let's say for instance, all the other countries put themselves together to fight whatever he claimed the strongest military on earth, it's tactical smartness that usually win a war. But these people want to risk everybody else's lives while they stay in a bunker hiding, but they don't want to fight their own war. These people are ridiculous. Zionism must be isolated, shunned, crushed, and dismantled. It is a threat to us all, replaced by a democratic, secular society with equal human rights for all. Long live resistance to Zionism and fascism. Alright, next tweet. During Trump's first presidency, I did say, what was the other one who came in power? He won his election, Hitler, democratically. And that's the same thing Trump is trying to do, but people are fighting back. And then he keeps on pushing the limit of democracy, pushing the limit. And I think this is what's done it for him. And doing things with children. Warner, quote, there was no imminent threat to the United States by the Iranian. there was a threat to Israel. If we equate a threat to Israel as the equivalent of an imminent threat to the US, then we are uncharted territory. Alright, so 46. And remember, they attacked, Israel attacked Iran the last time. Okay, not the recent one, the very first time. But that's when Iran got through the Iron Dome. So they sort of learned something, and they went back to the drawing board, attack again, and this time they did it wrong, because there was, not only Trump did not go to Congress to ask for permission, he went and do it unilaterally. Alright, so let's listen to him. Did I say it, or did I play it?
Let's also be clear. I said before, I've said now, there was no imminent threat to the United States of America by the Iranians. There was a threat to Israel. We equate a threat to Israel as the equivalent of an imminent threat to the United States, then we are in uncharted territory. We have seen the goals for this operation change now, I believe, 4 or 5 times.
Okay, it's playing over. Let's see, is there anything else? That's something else. Okay, so, there's Rubio. Almost a minute. Let's listen.
Absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage. Had we not done so, there would have been hearings on Capitol Hill about how we knew that this was going to happen, and we didn't act preemptively to prevent more casualties and more loss of life.
Oh my god. That 57 seconds took forever. Next tweet. Okay, let's pause this. If Iran attacked the US, they will be called terrorists, but the US attacked Iran, and they are heroes. If the US government doesn't care about the children killed in school in its own country, why would it care about children in another nation? Where's the pro-life outrage? Alright, so let's listen. Oh! 8 minutes! I didn't know it was that long. Oh, this is sick. Just sick. Alright, let's listen. Screenshot.
Let us not whisper it, let us say it loudly, and let it shake the rafters. 150 little girls went to school and did not come home. 150 futures folded into dust and concrete and smoke. We can debate doctrine until our mouths are dry. We can cite treaties and precedents and doctrines of imminence. We can argue about centrifuges and missile ranges and proxy networks, but none of those words will tuck a child into bed tonight. None of them will quiet a mother's scream when the call comes that the building's falling. So don't sanitize it. A school was struck. Desks were splintered, backpacks were buried, the air was filled with dust and fire. And somewhere tonight there are fathers staring at small shoes that'll never be worn again. If that doesn't pierce the soul of you, then what exactly are we defending? Yes, the Iranian regime was authoritarian. Yes, dissent was crushed. Yes, many Iranians long for something freer, but unpopularity is not a license to execute. Tyranny does not suspend sovereignty at the whim of another state. If it did, then every powerful nation will reserve for itself the right to eliminate leaders it dislikes. That's not order. That is precedent for permanent war. And here's the dangerous logic that hums beneath that. There was a threat, but there's always a threat. In the modern age, threat is elastic. It stretches to fit whatever fear we need it to justify. Missiles and bunkers, uranium and centrifuges, militias and borderlands, cyber code and shadow networks. If that qualifies as imminent, then imminence has lost its meaning. If hostility is enough, then every adversary is a future battlefield. And if every adversary is a battlefield, then peace is just an illusion that we pretend to value. We are told this is strength. We are told this is deterrence. We are told that this is necessary. But strength without restraint is not strength. It is just impulse dressed in a uniform. Deterrence that escalates into open conflict is not peace through strength. It is war through momentum. And let us be honest with ourselves about momentum, because once the machinery of war begins to turn, it doesn't hum softly, it roars, it consumes, it demands replenishment contracts and supplemental budgets and deployments for the foreseeable future. It creates constituencies who benefit from its continuation. This is not conspiracy. This is political economy, and it is the history of the United States. We have attacked a sovereign nation. We have killed its supreme leader. We have struck inside its territory. We have seen a school reduced to rubble and little bodies pulled from concrete. And we have heard language about foreseeable conflict. Foreseeable conflict. That phrase should chill anyone who remembers how these stories unfold. We destabilize, we degrade infrastructure, we decapitate leadership. We speak of liberation, and then the vacuum comes, where militias rise and hardliners consolidate. Regional powers meddle, and the moderates we claim to defend disappear between rubble and revenge. And when the dust settles, we ask why the next authoritarian has emerged from the wreckage we created. Institutional memory matters. Iraq taught us that removing a regime without preserving the skeleton of the state invites chaos. Libya taught us that air power is not a governance plan. Afghanistan taught us that 20 years of war cannot manufacture legitimacy where political settlement never existed. So the questions must be asked, and they must be asked loudly, clearly, and repeatedly. What is the political end state? Not the military objective, the political end state. What replaces what we've just shattered? Who governs? Who secures the borders? Who protects civilians tomorrow? Where is Congress in this? What authorization governs this conflict? What metrics determine success? What prevents this from metastasizing across the region? What is the stabilization architecture? What's the timeline? And yes, who profits? History shows us that defense contractors expand when wars do. That's not conspiracy. It is ledger books and budget supplements. Once the machinery of war turns, it generates those contracts. Momentum without defined off-ramps becomes inertia. This is not about hating an administration. It is not about partisan fury. It is about whether the decisions being made demonstrate deep institutional knowledge and long-term vision for the citizens of the United States. Leadership is not a game show. It is not branding. It is not spectacle. It is stewardship of the consequences. And when the president acts from a resort instead of the Situation Room, perhaps the geography doesn't matter technically, but symbolically it speaks to something people feel. A sense that the gravity has been replaced by improvisation, a sense that the weight of history is being handled lightly. Maybe there are rooms full of serious planners modeling contingencies. If so, show us. Democracy demands visibility. Anger here is not the enemy, though. Apathy is. There are moments when raised voices are not destabilizing, they are necessary. Citizens have every right to shout these questions at power, not to burn down the republic, not to abandon law, but to insist that war be justified, authorized, limited, and planned beyond the next news cycle. We can support security without surrendering scrutiny. We can reject authoritarianism abroad without normalizing assassination as policy. We can insist that America act with strength without confusing strength for perpetual escalation. And above all, we can remember that children do not belong in our doctrinal debates. If those answers exist, show them to us. Democracy is not strengthened by secrecy in matters of war. It is strengthened by debate, authorization, and defined limits. And do not tell the American people that we are too small to question this. Do not tell us that anger is unpatriotic. There is a long and sacred tradition in this country of citizens raising their voice when war is entered into without clarity. Anger, when disciplined, is not chaos. It is a moral force. It is the same force that once demanded civil rights, the same force that once demanded accountability after corruption, the same force that once filled the streets when wars dragged on without end. If we are wrong, show us why with evidence. This action reduces long-term risk. Prove it with transparent strategy. If this prevents catastrophe, articulate how. But but do not ask us to accept dead children and open-ended conflict as the price of your brand. 150 girls. I'll say it again. 150 girls. They will not grow up to debate geopolitics. They won't vote. They will not dissent. They will not reform their country from within. They will not build bridges between nations because they are gone. And if we cannot let that fact bend our own rhetoric toward humility and gravity, then we are drifting somewhere dangerous. We deserve leadership that understands history, leadership that respects law, leadership that weighs long-term consequences over short-term theater, leadership that knows war is not branding and foreign policy is not performance. We deserve better than improvisation in a region that is already soaked in blood. So, here's the hammer. Strength is not the volume of your strike. It is the wisdom of your restraint. And peace is not the silence after a missile hits. It is the stability that follows years later. If there is no plan for that stability, then this is not a strategy. It is escalation. And the American people have every right to demand that war be more than reaction, more than optics, more than momentum. Because if we do not demand wisdom right now, we will inherit the consequences later. And history will not care how confident our leaders sounded. It will remember the rubble, it will remember the vacuum, and it will remember the children. The fine's still there.
Okay, so let's see here. If Iran attacked the US, they will be, okay, I read that already. That thing was so long, I was dozing off. You know, one thing I'm starting to realize with some of the things that Trump is doing, attacking countries without any congressional approval, it seems like these are the things he probably was doing privately, but now he's using the country to carry out his private business into the government, which implicating the country as a whole, because he's using resources of the country to carry out his own thing. That's what I'm realizing, because as I'm editing this video, I'm seeing, just look at the screen, it seems like they attack another South American country. Is it Ecuador or something like that? This is not normal. This is not normal. There needs to be a stop to this. And I blame the Supreme Court for it, because it seems, I mean, they're gonna manufacture a reason why they're doing some of the things that they're doing to make it seem like it's because they're trying to protect the country or something like that. But technically, I think it's his own personal thing. He's using the country, our military, to carry out his business, which making the entire country as a whole in danger. Individuals, when they go out to other countries to visit, to vacation, it's putting American lives in danger. There needs to be a stop to this. Oh my God. Let's leave that alone. I spent too much time on this. Let's go to the next one. Ooh, so much going on. So much is going on. Okay, let's pause this. This is a minute. Donald Trump's children will profit while others suffer from this war. Pretty much true.
Once again, the American people have been fed a line of BS. It's because Iran or China, or maybe Iran with China, interfered in our elections, and the only way to defeat Iran working with China is maybe to cancel our elections. All of this is madness. And understand something. None of Bill Ackman's kids and none of his friends' kids are at any risk in Iran. Know this, Barron Trump won't be parachuting out of an F-15, and neither will Kai Trump. None of the Bitcoin billionaires' kids will go into harm's way. Why are we fighting this war? The simple truth is Donald Trump has been manipulated by Bibi Netanyahu and by the corrupt Saudi crown prince, who has lathered his family in billions and billions of dollars.
All right, there's that Saudi prince who did that handshake with Putin. I'll never forget that during Trump's first presidency. All right, so there's all of this. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's see here. This is the American embassy in Pakistan. There is a gunfight between United States Marines and Pakistani civilians. This is happening all over the Middle East. Trump and Pete Hegseth really F everything. Everything. Alright, is that a video? I don't even want to go in that. This is 30 seconds.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate.
That's AI.
He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an out. Our president will start.
That's an AI. Let's go to the next one. This is too raw, too real. This guy is so funny sometimes with his tweet. Stop asking the 92% and the 78% for help. We're still on break. We already know the assignment for the midterms, so come for your cousins, not us. Alright, 14 seconds. Let's see.
Bitch, we on break. So you handle yours. I'll be right over here eating my falafel and my pork rinds. Bitch.
People are just laughing. Stop it. The way these two were looking is all of us. Exactly. Alright, so this is my last one, okay? Oh my god, that last video, that was 8 minutes. I fell asleep. I hope you listened to it. It's gonna be screenshot anyway. You won't learn in school that there were more than 400 rebellions in Africa against the slave trade, even on slave ships. Alright, let's listen. 144 minutes. A minute and 44. Okay, I need to stop.
Like, in all case scenarios, Africa is a fucking traitor. Yeah, the entire continent.
The dead education theory strikes again.
Because they didn't teach you Nigeria sold you out. They didn't teach you South Africa sold you out. Nigga,
Nigeria and South Africa could have not sold their own people because South Africa and Nigeria were non-existent during that time.
In America, we were taught Africa sold us.
Almost all of the countries in Africa were formed after the Berlin Conference that happened in 1884 to 1885. So during this time there was no specific country. There was only like cities and kingdoms, which were also run by people who did not know how to speak English or write it. So when most of them were handed a piece of paper and told that after signing it, they were literally going to get rich, no one was around to read or translate it, so most of them signed it. And even after the realizations kicked in, the situation did not get any better because there was no specific language to unite Africans, in which formation of these languages took a lot of time. And also there was no interlinking transportational systems to unite Africa. And even after some Africans were educated, they were bribed and taken to European countries, making sure that they did not spread the knowledge they had acquired. So you might actually be a descendant of the people you actually hate.
And in all case scenarios, why the fuck would I venerate ancestors or connect myself to ancestors that sold their fucking children for profit? Are y'all fucking slow? I think so.
Totally unrelated, but I like the fact that you keep on using all...
I like what he said. Totally unrelated. The way he moved his hand. Oops.
Only one phrase, almost like you heard it when someone else used it, and you are spamming it thinking that you're going to sound educated.
I don't care who the fuck don't like me, I'm never gonna be nice about it.
No one is going to hate you, but a lot of people are going to think that you're uneducated. And
I would like to listen more the way he responded to it. Alright, but anyway, that's that. I came across it
in all case scenarios,
and I thought I'd share it with you. Alright, so that is it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. Alright, so that is it. Thanks for watching.
Wanaka. It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.